Hi there, here I am back again with an update on the Tamiya Honda F1. It's been a while. I keep trying to make videos more frequently, but it's just very difficult with all the other things that I've got to do. Um, but then I saw that there were quite some views on the build videos of this great kit, and I felt that I should at least spend some time showing you the final product and also taking you through some of the problems that I had building this kit. So here we go. I'm gonna try and keep it within 10 minutes to to not bore you too much with this, but as you can see, this is the finished product. I think in the end it looks okay. In pictures and videos, it probably looks better than it does in real life, which is a good thing, I think. But this was probably the most challenging kit that I have ever built. And I know my skills are not very good. I'm just not talented in some of the respects that I can see that other people do on YouTube videos. Some of the work I see keep me motivated to try and get better, but it's just a level that I still am not able to reach. On the other hand, the final product has been worth all the troubles. To take you to some of the issues I had, and I might have mentioned some of them before. First of all, painting the whole thing, the paint job was full with problems, and that's not the kit's fault. That's just my fault, trying to get the white to cover nice and to then get a gloss on it, and that every step I had some problem, had to go back, had to do some sanding again, redo it, and during that whole process there's always a big risk that you lose detail and the rivets will disappear, and that unfortunately has happened with mine. So not a good thing. I was very annoyed by that fact, but on the other hand, I didn't want to stop the build just because of that. I thought I'd just go on. So that was quite early. Then after that, I managed to get quite some other problems. First of all, the front suspension. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you that very well, but I will try. Front suspension arms are very brittle. It could have to do with the fact that this kit was actually from somewhere late 70s, early 80s. So the plastic might have gone bad a little bit, but also there are very small details and hooks that have to sort of click onto other parts to keep it all moving, because the whole model is with full steering, full suspension, and everything should work. In mine, it doesn't anymore because of, first of all, I had some parts breaking. Some of the linkages were just like C-shaped clickable parts that just broke. So the C shape broke in two, and I was not able to get the steering or the wheels or the suspension parts clicked together. That has been bad. I have managed to repair it with some metal parts which are not really visible from the outside, so that's a good thing, but still it was a lot of work and a lot of aggravation to get this all functional again. So front suspension, if you build this model and it's the older type, I'm not sure how they might have fixed that with the newer types, but on the original kit it just breaks so easily, and then you've got a real problem. So take care about that. In the end, the whole suspension looks good, but the functionality of it has been lost because I just had too many parts breaking and too many problems with it, so I didn't even try. I had the same sort of problem on the rear suspension. There are these long arms that weren't the problem, but in here there's also a real coil spring. And one of the problems that I had was one of the connecting rods also just broke in two in the middle. That was easier to fix because I just could use some super glue it together, and then I could get it to work again. But again, problems with the rear suspension. Very brittle plastic, and again, might have to do with the age of the kit, but I managed to get it at least looking okay. So so that's some of the problems that I experienced. Another problem is the rear part of the engine where the exhaust pipes are. These are all loose parts, very difficult to get right. And it might be a combination of me not being able to follow the directions correct, because the drawings are there, but it's very difficult to find out exactly how the orientation of all these parts is. So I ended up gluing them together, breaking them loose again, and changing the positions. Even had to bend some of the pipes using some hot air to make them fit. It's still not perfect. It looks okay from the outside. Maybe on video you don't see the problems, but there are problems, and it's like maybe an 80% correct job. I could not get it any better than it is now. When you look at the model when it's in its case, it's not something that you will just immediately see as a big problem. But for me, knowing where the problem is, it's a bit of a shame. But there was just no way for me to get that exactly correct. So exhaust pipes is another area of concern, and you have to be really careful to not make mistakes there. The last problem that I want to mention is the driver. For me, first of all, it's very difficult for me to paint driver figures. I find painting the faces and everything is really difficult. Big advantage here is that this guy has goggles, and I didn't have to do eyes, which is good. But even lips and shadows on the face for me is difficult. I try to do it. I've watched a million YouTube videos about it, and it seems so easy to do it, but I just can't get it right. And I try to use the techniques, but they fail. And then I go over it again with other paint, and I just end up with something that is sort of okay, but not nearly as good as it could be. Okay, that's just the way it is. But the bigger problem was getting the guy into the cockpit after everything was finished. And I probably should have done a different sequence of fitting. I probably did not follow the drawing and the manual. So I built everything and then I put the driver in, which is impossible. It doesn't fit, and the biggest problem is that you can't get past the steering wheel with the legs. So I had to take out the steering wheel again, which broke the whole connection between the steering wheel and the front wheels. Had to redo that. Okay, then I got the guy in. Then I couldn't get his hands to fit on the outsides of the wheel. Problem was that I'll try and maybe put this like this. I don't know if you can see this, but the hands are very tight within the cockpit, and then they are around the sides of the wheel, obviously. So there's almost no room between the sides of the cockpit, the hands, and the steering wheel. And gluing the pilot figure together first, I found out that the hands were too close together, and the steering wheel did not fit literally between his hands. So I filed away some of the insides of the gloves and still didn't fit. In the end, I had to break off one of the arms again, which was all painted. Everything was great, and then I had to break it again, file that to another size, and then glue it together again to get it all to fit. And then just having everything in the cockpit, gluing it while in the cockpit, because you can't move the hands obviously around the steering wheel, was very, very, very difficult to do. I think I spent 2 or 3 days getting this right. And you know how it goes. You think it's right, one thing is correct, the other thing breaks, then you fix that, the third thing breaks, and you keep going around trying to fix everything that you break while trying to fix something else. It's been quite a challenge. Having said all that, and having thought during the process of the build that I would just stop doing it and I would just give up and just start another project. In the end, I always thought, let's just go through with this, finish it, build it as good as we can. There's another problem here, as you can see, with a problem with the transparent stuff. I've tried so hard to not get any glue on this, and in the end I did get glue on that. This might be fixable, but then when I start to try and fix it, maybe polish it or do something like that, I might break the thing off again. I didn't have the heart to do it. So right now this is this is an obvious problem that's there, and I should probably change that later. But to come back to my original story, I just try to get on with it, just move towards finishing the product. And I always thought, if it really looks bad, if it's just something that I have no joy of, I'll just throw it away in the end. And I've learned probably something during the build process. But to be honest, having finished it, putting the decals on, again, decals were also quite the problem. Certainly the striping, which didn't fit correctly as far as I could tell. And in the front, it's very difficult to get that all done. But in the end, with microset, I did get that, and it sort of saved the model for me. The lack of details that I just filed away and sent it away is not as bad because of the decals and the colors on it. The helmet of the driver was pretty good. This is some sort of striping tape that I used because painting these stripes with a sharp edge is just very difficult for me. Another thing that I can't get to grips with is just masking. My masking never works as it should because there's always leakages, or I peel off the paint when I take off the masking tape. So masking tape is really a no-go for me. It just doesn't work. But having these very thin, like striping decals worked for me in this case. So anyway, this is the final product. I'm also going to try and put some pictures of it on the end of this video to show you a little bit more about how the end product looks. But thank you for bearing with me during this series that didn't exactly go as planned, because I was going to do a lot of more building videos on it, but it's just so difficult to get that done, and the timing and everything. One good thing is that I've got a new GoPro and some other stuff that makes it a little bit easier for me to make the video. So never say never. I don't know, maybe I'll do other build videos, but for now I thought it would be a good idea to just have a closing video on the F1 build product. For everyone who has watched the video, liked it, maybe even disliked it, and put information beneath the videos, thank you very, very much, because this is the reason why I decided to even do this video. Because if there's no interaction and nobody is interested, for me it's not worth the trouble actually to make this kind of thing. So again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video soon.